How's it going? This is Crispy. It's been a long time since I did an update. Well, to me it seems. And my tank is looking crammed up from side to side. There's just little space there where this is where the drift was at. So that spot don't have a lot of plants behind it. This space I was saving for the pennywort scene and the driftwood falling down scene, so you can look down here and see open space. So that's why there's not a lot of plants behind it, but the alternate there, redneck irregular, is just being crazy. I propagated the really tall stems probably about 6 times already. That's why it's looking so like bushy and compact behind there. The Limnophilia aromatica, it's looking great. The colors are coming in. That's probably one of the ones that's popping out only. There's a few more popping out there. I probably have about like 4 or 5 stems. I need to trim this and do something with that Rotala rotundifolia. I know a lot of people like Rotala rotundifolias, but it's just not for me because it grows really fast, it grows really tall, and I don't have a spot to put it besides squishing it in the back somewhere. So got to get rid of that somehow. I'm planning to. I went camping over the weekend and plucked out a few plants. This is Loelia palustris, and it looked really nice because it was already inside the water and only like that part right there was sticking out only. So felt really glad finding it again at the little creek in the mountains. So I plucked that out. This plant was also in the water too. There's root systems going on already, so hopefully that can survive. If that can, and hopefully it won't get too tall. This grass plant was inside the creek stream, in the middle of the creek stream. It wasn't actually underwater, but it was on a rock that the water was just flowing through, like the very bottom of it. So I just thought that maybe if I plant that and see how it does. That thing can get a little bit tall. I also pulled out this rock from the creek stream. It had a bunch of plants that was on it. Same, all these plants are the same, but then they were like stuck on the rock, and heavy water flow was flowing through it, but then the plants were still on the rock. So they actually root themselves or attach themselves to the rocks pretty good. So wanted to see how that do in my tank. So let's get down to what I did in front of my tank. As you can see here, I finally got what I wanted for the scape that I want, because I wanted a dwarf hairgrass right there, right under there, to block those rocks behind there and grow up a little bit taller. And I've been wanting that for a long time now, and I did bought some at PetSmart. As you can see there, that is the one I got from PetSmart, and these taller ones are the ones that I got from the creek. So you can compare the colors, as that is much more bright green and this is more like brown green. All the dailies are in there too, so I'm waiting for that to grow out a little bit before I do a big trim on that. So if you've been following me from the very beginning, you will notice that my substrate is a lot more cleaner because I got my lights and my CO2 on timer now, and the nearest snails are doing their job, minus the fact that they're laying a bunch of sesame seed eggs everywhere. But I used to have a bunch of glossals because that was my main plan, to carpet glossals like all over here, just basically all along my tank. But it's not doing well because, I mean, the glossals are growing. Don't get me wrong, it's growing great, but the thing is, it's not growing horizontally, it's growing vertical, as in it keeps going straight up. So back in the days when I first set up this tank and had glossals in there, I was keeping or measuring from this driftwood line right there as the glossals trimming line. So whenever they grow too tall, then I would just trim it back down to there. And as you can imagine, it'll be blocking this whole section right here. So I got mad, I got fed up with it, so I went all the way down to the very bottom, trimmed there. And a few of them did grow out sideways. This is a good bunch of 3 long stems together only. So this is what I really wanted from the very beginning, for it to just grow like this. But the thing is, that comes with other pieces that grow out tall too. So they're just taking too much work, and they just gotta go. So what I did was just plucked out all of those all the way up to here. There's still a few left there growing. I'm just waiting for them to get a little taller and bigger, and pluck them out as well. The pennywort's doing great. I planted dwarf baby chairs there, which I already had in my tank. It was behind this little Anubias or driftwood piece right here. There's another piece that sticks out like that behind this driftwood piece right here, and I placed my dwarf baby chairs there. So I took that off of there and replanted them all over here. Hopefully they can carpet this whole area right there. And I just wanted dwarf baby chairs to cover up from right here all the way to over here. And for this section right here, I might do something else with that. I wanted a lot of space for a lot of different plants because I just didn't want one whole carpet. That's what I used to want, but glosses didn't work out, so I wanted, now I kind of want to have something else in place of that. This section right here, I'm just gonna propagate more polka stem and health fries and move them up front. And if not, then I might just plant something else there too. But the thing is, I didn't already trim the few stems and planted them there. These three wasn't even there. I replanted them there newly. This guy wasn't even there, just replanted them there too. So that's my plan for now. Like I said, the rotundifoliate has to go, the Anubias has to go, and I gotta do a trim again because it's been a week or so since I haven't trimmed. This guy's just gotta go. I mean, whew, look how crooked that is. It was straight like that, and then it kind of grew a little bit to the left side, and now as it got up to the water, blowing it, for the leaf to get straight and get its sufficient light, it had to, you know, sacrifice bending its stem right there just to get the sufficient light in front of the stream. So this Lowigia repens has to go. A few stems of this Pinnatifida has to go. Java Fern's looking great. The Crip is looking great. It has a bunch of Nera snail eggs everywhere. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. I probably have to plug those eggs out, and if the algae is going away, then I might just have to take out the Nera snails. Everything else is doing great. My tank is looking awesome. I'm really happy with what I have. This tank was like, I used to see it as a project, but now since I've got it to the point where it's established, it's more like a hobby now. Yeah, so that's all I can say. Oh yeah, and also, where's that little guy? I'll show you guys. As you can see there, that is the guppy fry that I had. And I only had one fry off that first batch of fries, I would say, because I had... For some reason they were eating the fries, so this batch they were doing great and better. My tank is out right now because it's on timer, the 2.5 gallons, and as I can count now, I have 5 guppy fries, and I'm really excited for that. They are surviving, their stomach are big, they're getting healthy, and also my celestial peridanials, see them coming along right in time. There was like a trio in my other 2.5 gallon tank, and what I did was I took out the parents, both 2 females and the males, before I went camping, and so whenever I came back from camping, I noticed one really small fry inside the tank, and I was really excited for that too. One is not bad. I did a water change before I took them out, so I might have scooped up some eggs and some fry along with that, because I did not realize that they were so small. If you have ever bred guppies before, the celestial pearl Daniel fry is probably like a eighth or a ninth of the size of a guppy fry. So they're really small, and I can see why. Like if you just have the parents in the tank where you're trying to breed them, and they will constantly eat the fry because they just look so small. They look like little worms or little parasites or whatever, and you know it attracts the fish. So it's up to my understanding that for celestial pearl Daniels, you really do have to remove the parents, because if you don't, then they will definitely eat the fry. I don't know if they eat the eggs, but I know that whenever the fry hatches, they will eat it because it's so small. So and also one tip about mosses: if you have a moss like a moss carpet or just any kind of thick moss, you need to grab a vacuum it whenever you do water change on your tank, because all I can say is I grab a vacuum most likely this whole area right here because it's smaller and shorter, and I gravel vacuum all that because the water blows that way from behind the bag and carries along all of this nasty stuff that gets trapped up in there. Sorry, I saw a spider on my camera, but all the poop gets trapped up around here, so I like to grab a vacuum this area right here and a little bit right here, and also the pendant a little bit, and most likely the front area, not really the back, because that bag right there has the ADA soil, and all these back right here has regular soil, but I don't like to go back there because not a lot of poop is stuck there. But for the moss, I swear, like, I vacuumed it and I got like more junk from the moss than I got from my whole tank combined, probably like 5 times more. So if you have a thick moss carpet or a thick moss, then you need to really vacuum at least once a week, or every time you do a water change, make sure you vacuum your moss. You'll be surprised at how much things come out from the mosses. So that's the update on my tank. A lot of plants are going. I'm getting Celestial Pearl Daniel fries, getting guppy fries. I'm getting really happy with that. Oh yeah, and also you may not notice, but yeah, it's pretty sad. My Bozeman rainbow fish died. It made me feel real bad. Like it made me feel like I was a bad fish keeper and wasn't able to keep fish alive. And you know, some people are like, dude, you gotta establish 50 gallon, and you got freaking a bunch of other type of fish that can live in your tank, and for some reason you just can't keep rainbows. But that wasn't the case. The reason that I lost the 2 Bozeman was that they were sick and they had a cottonmouth illness when they came into my tank. I didn't notice, and I went back to the same pest market that I bought them from to go buy some extra brine shrimp because I was running low on a pack. And when I got there, they quarantined 15 tanks or so, that and the rainbow tank just happened to be in there too, and they said it had something. They couldn't tell me what it was, but they just said it had something. So I came home, looked at my fish. One fish clearly showed sign that the mouth was whitish, because I don't know, I was pretty dumb. I don't have a quarantine tank, I don't have that much space, and I didn't really take a good look at the rainbow fish before I bought it. So what happened was that one died 2 days later after I went to PetSmart and came back, and it was just crazy. I was afraid, but I didn't really do nothing yet. And then the second one's mouth was like started to turn whitish, and it looked like his mouth was kind of rotting away or something, and it was just like there was like some kind of white worm coming out of his mouth or something. It wasn't actually worm, it wasn't actually like a parasite, it was like whitish fuzzy stuff that looked like a worm. So that's when I really got scared. I took him out and put him in a a really small bowl, and I'm sad at that because I couldn't have the space to have a quarantine tank. But I took him out and I treated my whole tank with Melafix. Yeah, that's what it's called, Melafix. I treated my whole tank with Melafix because I'm afraid it was going to spread and kill a lot of my fish. So within that period of time, I lost one Celestial Pearl Daniel, and I lost one Coolie Loach. Oh, just like this guy back here. I know I don't really show them, but I do like them though. So I lost a half banded Coolie Loach, I lost a Celestial Pearl Daniel, and I lost 2 Bozeman within that period of time. And that was the only time that I really lost fish unexplainedly, which found out later that it was actually cottonmouth disease or whatever. So that was a pretty sad story. I don't mind going with rainbows again, but for now I'm just gonna I'm just gonna probably order expensive fish from breeders instead of PetSmart. That was just crazy. I was fearing for the safety of all my fish in my tank. I'm still now treating it with little amounts. It's probably, whatever's in there is probably almost dead already. I treated my tank probably a good week straight with the recommended dose, and now I'm just trying to weave that away with a little bit amounts, just to make sure whatever's left in there is gone. So that's what happened in my tank. I know it's really sad. Those were my really two first rainbows, but I lost them. It's really sad. So everything else is great. Good thing, bad things happen in the hobby. You know that. Everybody else knows that. So subscribe to my page.